How are you doing today? I'm Cinnamon Cooney. I'm the ArtSherpa. I teach acrylic painting online for free. Today is a live, amazing lesson of a howling wolf. On the mic is my husband, John.
Hi, guys.
He basically gets to chat and knows what you guys are asking, organizes the streams, as you can tell today. The stream was fighting back a little bit. Luckily, I grew up in California, so I can handle the surf.
You can handle it?
I can handle it. I have some tool sets when I sit out there and float and it's just glass and there's no breaking waves. I'm familiar with the feeling. So, anyways, we caught a good wave.
Yep.
Let's see if we can take this all the way in and get you guys to paint this fabulous howling wolf. If you've been with me a long time, you know this is based on the Bohemian Wolf pen piece that I did a while back that you guys said, please, could you show me how to do this as a wolf? You know, more realistically. And I was like, I could do that. But if you didn't remember, if you didn't recall, I just thought I'd remind y'all where that came from.
Yep.
So today we're going to start out with a black gessoed canvas, or you could just paint it black. Either's fine. I put some wishes on here.
You did? What
I
did.
did.
What wishes did you capture for us?
I have a wish for Miss Sue for migraine relief, and just in general, because I'm hearing from a lot of our community, they're struggling with migraines and chronic pain right now. Just a relief from those things.
Oh, yeah.
I think migraines, I've had maybe one in my life. I've had headaches, and then maybe one that you would qualify as a migraine where you feel like throwing up and everything. You just think you're going to die from your head. So I can't imagine having those regularly. So I just send wishes for healing and relief and understanding for that. And I have a wish for Janine to just feel good about her pears, man. And then we have a birthday wish.
Oh, yes.
Just for Hayden.
Oh,
It's
that's
the
right.
best birthday ever. Happy
birthday,
birthday. I'm going to paint my wishes into my canvas. I'm going to grab a nice number 10 bright
Let me get over and look at that, right?
with a nice synthetic filament in there that's firm. You know what I like.
I do.
You know what I like. I'm looking at brushes. Brush questing.
I think that if you give me just a moment, I can probably give you a little picture-in-picture.
Picture-in-picture. So we do like to have picture-in-picture so you know what we're painting.
And,
We have a traceable. If you're not a drawing person, but you love wolves and you're like, I really love this picture, but I don't like to draw. That's okay. There's a traceable in the link below. You can go check out that traceable and use it, but I'm going to show you how I draw this in. I actually think he's pretty... If you're starting your drawing journey, he's a good place to sort of test those skills.
there we go. There's a little
So you can see how the wishes and the chalk pencil just disappear right into the paint. And if you're on YouTube, there's a link to that.
Oh.
So you can just get it. Because you guys asked me, where do you get that? And I get mine like in Michael's in a pack, but I've got an Amazon link so you can find it. I'm going to higher dry this real quick.
Okay. So, hey guys, how you doing? You know, we've got almost 300 people in the room right now. And if you count that we're on Twitch and YouTube, we've got over 300 people in the room. Easy. So thank you guys all for coming and hanging out with us. Don't forget to do the like, comment, subscribe, share stuff. You know, we always love to have you guys here with us. And, you know, don't forget, oh, there's Cinnamon showing off her not paint water cup that you can get at shop.theartsherpa.com. We got to get all our plugs in there while she's doing her little...
No, I'm just showing off because I'm like, you guys have had my mugs before I've had my mugs.
Yeah.
I've been a little jelly.
Yeah, she just got her newest run of mugs in, so she's really excited about them.
Of my own mugs.
Her own
my
mugs.
mugs.
So
you have my mugs at your house, but I have my mugs now at my house, so I'm very excited. Like, you guys get excited. Materials.
So, tell us about your materials.
11 by 14 canvas board.
Yeah.
Lovely, inexpensive, nice to store, easy to frame. I have titanium white, burnt umber, burnt sienna, phthalo blue, cad red light. Here I have Australian sienna. You could use Indian yellow, and if you have none of those, honestly, yellow ochre is a fine exchange for this project. And then this is Mars black, but guess what? So is black gesso. So all that is good. I'm not using glazing medium today because I don't need it, because this is going to be all dry brushing.
Rhonda says you're looking foxy today.
I am foxy. Foxy lady.
Oh.
I'm so dorky, but it's cool. Yeah.
So we got the fox on today.
What does the... I don't want to say that anymore because remember, got that one video pulled that one time?
What does the wolf say?
Hungry
today?
like the wolf. I went Duran on you.
Oh, man.
I did. So I'm going to draw in my wolf. He'll be very similar to the test painting that I showed you guys.
Yeah.
Right? But he'll still be a little bit different because I'm not a copy machine. I'm just an artist.
Now, is there a traceable for this?
There is a traceable for this. I put it out all over Facebook. It is on Pinterest, and you can find it on the webpage, TheArtSherpa.com.
So what are you going to do
And if you're on Twitch, I think, did you put it in the description?
Maybe.
Okay. Well, I'm not responsible for that, Twitch.
We'll get there.
We're getting there.
We have over 300 people in the room, by the way. We are totally Sherpa.
Are we fully Sherpa?
We're fully Sherpa. We've blown Sherpa away.
All right, let me sketch him in, and then we'll do the Sherpa dance with bubbles.
All right.
So I'm going to do a little bit of a bump here for a nose, and then I'm going to curve a muzzle around softly, coming down. I like to then make a little U coming up, because I got to give his little mouth some room to be open. Then I'm going to loop that back in. There's some foreshortening. Isn't that fun? I'm going to put a little tooth sort of peeking out here. And then another little tooth peeking there. And that's how I get his little mouth open. He's doing his little howl.
Yeah.
Give him a little bit of a chin. You know, I'm sure when they're angry at you and defending their territory, they're not delightfully cute. But I have to say that when they're not in that space, they are so cute.
So cute.
Wouldn't want one as a pet. But I think they're a lovely animal and we should protect them. And I'm just kind of sketching what I think his little neck fur is. So you can see I pull it in and then push it out.
Yeah.
Then his muzzle is pretty kind of flat. I'm going to come up to just past his little mouth point here, and I'm going to raise his skull for where his ocular cavity would be. Where his eye is, because you got to see.
His ocular cavity.
Sorry, I don't know what I'm using.
There,
I'm Bill Nye, the
Sherpa.
Science Guy today.
Sherpa science.
Come over. If you think about a skull, just something to think about when you're placing eyes. Where do they have to be? They have to be. You wouldn't have one up here and one back here. They're going to be in line. So if you have trouble with that, a little thing that you can do is just give yourself a little anchor line.
So is that the brow or is that the center of the eye?
This is where I'm going to anchor my eye in. It's just letting me know where to place my eye. It's neither a brow nor center line. It's just a guide to say, hey, don't put this shape up here or back here. Put it here. I'm going to do a similar thing with the ear because the ear is obviously also.
So that's just kind of where on the head it should be.
That's where on the head it should be. I think that's where people get lost sometimes. I'm going to tuck out an ear, this little triangle shape that we have there. And then, of course, he's got his little furry neck. And his ear could even be a little bit bigger. The ears are actually bigger than people think. And I'll give him a little furry neck that'll come out. Now, if I have the ear here, I can do another little, hey, things line up. He's a symmetrical wolfers. And just tell myself where another little ear will be. And so for all of the ones that I've done of him, this is how I sketched him in every time. You make little adjustments once you have him in. Say, oh, I don't need to widen that out. You know, how do I need to change that? And then coming off the mouth, I'm going to lay in a little bit of a guide for my howl. You know, the cold air howl?
Oh, yeah, I like that cool air howl.
Yeah, I do too. It's very important. So how I generally do that is I do a swirl up, small swirl down, swirling up, maybe background. I looked at a lot of smoke and breath howls to create this. And so again, I'm going to say you're going to come up, make a journey down, wiggle, wiggle, background, maybe come here. And I'll add a little more to this when I get into my paint, but I find that getting a little repetitive there. You do that, you get cloning. You get cloning. Grew up here and don't clone anything. Don't clone it. All right, so I think we've got some very wiggly, unpredictable lines, you know, fractals. And I'll let myself know that there's a little dark area in the ear that I want. And now I have enough information to just start painting him in.
Oh, yeah?
I do, and I'm going to pick out a brush that I want to paint with today.
Where are you going to start painting?
I wish I knew where my number 10 is in this, but I'm going to start painting with a number 8. And I actually might today also work in a bristle brush because I'm doing so much dry brushing.
Oh, okay.
So I have a number 8 bright in a synthetic.
Can you explain that? So what's the difference between those two bristles? You just said one's a bristle brush and one's not. What's the difference?
Okay. So this comes from hog hair.
Okay.
This is what's called best dressed, and I believe these are interlocked, which means this isn't, you know, sometimes with bristles they get fluffy. This won't get fluffy. It'll hold its shape. Bristles and synthetics will feel like the correct firmness in the store, but when you wet a bristle, it softens.
Okay.
It's real soft, so it gets too soft for what I'm doing. Whereas a synthetic brush doesn't and holds its shape. But sometimes for a dry brush, if I'm not going to be soaking the brush, a bristle can be really nice and scratchy. Whereas
so
this
if
is
you're
tidy.
dry brushing, it's good. You like the...
I like to mix it up.
I see. Okay.
You mix it up at home.
Gotcha.
I'm going to have a sippy. Everybody says sippy. I'm letting my week go.
You know what you should do while you're doing that is that you should celebrate that we got over 300 people in our room here. And thank you guys for coming. If you're at home and you're just joining us, don't forget, we're here having a good time. Don't forget to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your
Foxy
toes.
left me.
And do your foxy dances. And don't forget that bubbles on black gessoed canvases stick out like a sore thumb, and they're almost impossible to wipe off. So you're going to enjoy the rest of this. So there's our bubble. Our wolf got invited to the squirrel rave.
Party?
The squirrel rave.
I don't know what to do with that.
So thank you guys for joining. So she's just taken to the bubble. Here you go. Watch this. Just make it worse for her.
Stop, Mr. Cooney. Enough Texas snowflakes.
Enough Texas snowflakes.
No, it's actually pretty cool. I'm liking it. All right, I'm gonna get my bristle brush.
Get your bristle brush.
I am, and I'm gonna just take a little of my phthalo blue over to my Mars black, and I'm going to create almost a Payne's gray.
Yeah.
Right, which is just a bluish gray, and I'm gonna get a lot of white. A lot of it. I want a very light color, and I'm gonna start working my muzzle. Putting in, this is how I do this. If you'll notice, I'm on the corner of my brush. The paint load is really just to here. I didn't prime my brush with water. I didn't put any water in my brush because I want the paint to be very dry. And I'm using a super light brush stroke. And I'm going the direction of the fur. And I'm going to give him a very light muzzle. Coming around here, and so that's what I'm doing. So notice that I'm going in line with his muzzle, and as I come around I'll curve it. It doesn't take, it's interesting. I'm gonna pull some of this down here. It's okay, you don't want to have a nice neat and tidy line because he's a little bit furry, right?
Yeah.
So you do want this to come off the edge, and I'm just working the corner and ends of my brush.
Ooh.
See? It's doing all the work for me. Look how much fur I already have. It's like, dude, where'd your fur come from? My brush made it happen. It's a magic brush. Well, it is a very good brush. I won't lie to you, but honestly, it's just using it correctly. So you see this little angle here, and I'm just actually dragging the corner of my brush to the edges of the bristles and pulling a soft line. And this is like, I like to think it's like butterfly kisses. I'm going to make him very roughy this time. He's going to have rough. It's his winter coat. Ruff, ruff.
Yeah.
His winter coat.
So where are you going with that rough winter coat?
All down here. And I'm going to just fill in his markings. He's got kind of, they're all different, these little wolvy guys. They're all different. I looked at a lot of wolves when I did the Bohemian wolf. As John knows.
Oh, yeah.
He hears
there was
about
some
it.
wolfing around.
There was some wolfing around. Just notice how it's just a little scratch, 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 scratch.
Ooh, Sue has 8 cats.
Sue!
That's like anti-wolf.
If you put the bubble machine on in your house, it would be a madhouse.
It would be a cat party.
Forget the art party. It would be a cat party, Sue.
That'd be awesome.
It would actually. Sue, if you filmed that, can I have that footage? I need a viral video. Help me out, Sue.
Cat bubble party.
Cat bubble party. I need something to get 1 million views.
Add black lights. It'll be on.
Yes, black light bubbles. These things come in black light bubbles. What we learned is black light bubbles stain canvases.
Uh-huh.
So not helpful. If later they're ever trying to identify a real Sherpa painting, I'm sure that the black light bubble stains will be part of that identification process. So each time I'm coming over here, I'm just getting a little bit of white. See that? I haven't rinsed my brush. Right? I'm just letting the pigment that exists in the brush still exist there. I'm coming back and just adding little dashes, aren't I? Just coming along, pulling it out. This is not as hard as it will feel.
Yeah. Why is
No.
that?
What it is that it's just the brush and the canvas and the color of the paint are doing all the work. But what's hard for you as a painter is just letting go of control and realizing that it's happening when it's happening.
Gotcha.
Not over obsessing. So you're so obsessive. It's not perfect. Dude, it wasn't gonna be. So I get up with my painting going, I know it's not gonna be perfect. So I'm not stressed out.
Right.
Right? But sometimes you guys are like, it could be perfect. There's a whole bunch of philosophy that says it was never gonna be. Just let that go. And enjoy being wolf today. Be this wolf. This howling happy wolf. He's a happy wolf. He's singing.
Oh, yeah.
He's singing his song. Feeling pretty good. And I'm just adding that little extra. You can see as I'm coming along, I'm just adding more and more white pigment, right? Every time. And my paint then is getting lighter. And it's adding that sense of he's got this white fur, but not completely white. Just he's got some white fur. And that's what you're trying to do. You're trying to say, hey! There's some white fur here. And you're following the fur line. See how I follow the fur line. We've got a quest, a big art quest on fur. If you'd like some more help and thought about this. Because fur's busy, but it's not hard. It's like hair. Hair's busy, but it's not hard. And sometimes we interpret things that are very busy and time-consuming as very hard. So I'm just coming on. Now I'm flip my brush over to its edges, and I'm using the straight of the edge to give this a nice little...
Ooh.
See that clean little spot?
Shannon and Little Brush Jackson are watching today.
Hi, Shannon and
He
Jackson.
loves the wolf.
The what?
He loves that wolf.
Oh, thank you. It's a good wolf.
Yeah.
He's a good boy, this wolf. I'm going to come inside the ear and I'm going to add just a titch around this dark spot of this fur. This lighter fur. All right. So that's in there. I'm going to rinse my brush out.
Now, while you're rinsing, one of our community here, it scrolled up. I think it was Nikki, was saying that she's using a student paint, a basics paint, and is having some trouble getting coverage. She's painted over 2 or 3 times, and there's still white showing through. Is that just more coats for this?
You know, that is the reality of your student paint. And if you're doing this, and I had student paint, like if I was at a place that had really inexpensive paint and I had to do this, and I was trying to, I'm just fixing my bubbles that John gave me. I don't know why, because he's going to hit me with bubbles later.
You'll
but
get
I'm
more.
being a net
You'll
bar.
fix those later.
We'll fix this. Anyways, what I would say is, sweetie, add white to your paint.
But if it's black that you're trying, if you're like trying to cover white with a black paint.
Yeah, no, you're trying to cover the white over the black paint. What you're trying to get is a higher pigment load and a heavier body.
No, like if your canvas is white and you're painting black on there and it's just not
Oh,
not covering. So
yeah.
You just got to keep going.
You're going to have to just keep going. Or if you're like, this is enough and I don't want to put up with it anymore.
Just some black gesso.
Get some black gesso.
And just knock that out.
It's really useful. And what's nice about this is it has tooth to it. So it makes it easy to sketch.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it's the student paints. It's not you. I wish they were different than they are. There's ways around it. There's ways to fight through it. Dude, I painted with coffee before. You can paint with anything. So don't let it stop you. Just also don't blame yourself for stuff that's product issue.
Now, if you're and when you're using white paint over that black, you want some of the black to show through as part of the fur dry brushing
it's doing
process.
some of the work for me.
Gotcha.
I want that.
So the black
You're
canvas,
getting streaking over your white canvas you don't want. I want this.
Yeah. And
I'm getting what I want.
Cool.
Working is intended.
All right.
Working is intended. The streakiness in your paint is not working as intended.
Right. So, but when you're using white paint over black, it's okay for the black to show through because that's the dry brushing technique you're looking for.
I love my golden and I love my pro paints, but you can try gallery acrylic. So sometimes that helps. I have not rinsed my... Well, I did that one rinse and then came back with some black gesso.
Okay. So you're...
Now I'm going to start doing some other dry brushing. So I'm going to get a little of the blue on here, but I have my black pigment already. If you don't have black, you're going to want to dust with black.
Okay.
And I'm going to come and get some of my burnt umber.
You're trying to brown out some of that fur.
Yeah. We're going to get this burnt umber and we're going to blue it up. And we're going to start layering some furs, guys.
So
We're gonna come
Shelly,
right here on his little. You might need to add a smidge of white. Oh, and just be light with it because it'll gray out real fast. See that I'm just curving on his brow bone where his brow bone would be curved?
Yeah. So Shelly on Twitch was asking.
Hi, Shelly on Twitch. Hi, Twitch.
I wonder if she's painted with coffee before on purpose. Hashtag not paint water.
Yes. Yeah, it was dude. Painting with coffee is not only on purpose; it's a whole event.
It's in our one of the. If you go search on our YouTube channel for the coffee painting, I think it's just coffee in our videos. You'll find it.
Yeah,
it's
it trended
really
once
cool,
in Russia for like about a minute. It was really weird.
It's a really cool
sugar skull with
sugar
coffee
in sort of these ochre tones to it.
Yeah, because it's coffee.
It's coffee, yeah.
It didn't have a blue coffee I could work with. It was pretty much coffee and coffee. I was very supported in that project by my baristas at Starbucks who kept giving me things to experiment with. And coffee beads and all kinds of stuff. So I was really appreciative. So I'm just brushing this in. I've added some of this pigment to the nose even though I know I'm going to come back. And I'm still, even though it can be hard to see your burnt umber and blue mixture against the black, it's there, it's important, don't back off of it. Right? I'm adding a smidge of white though. And I'm going to definitely, right, I'm making first strokes, see how I'm doing? These are short strokes. And I'm creating a line. The thing that will play against you is being too symmetrical or too considered in your line, and fur is not those things. Fur is it plays with you. All right, I'm coming down here around the ear, and I'm going to work out the rough.
The rough. No
Sorry.
pun intended.
I don't know. I just like it. So I've gotten a little more brown. You're kind of seeing it. The hairs and the strokes on the back of the neck will get longer. See how they're getting longer and flowier. That's important. Now, if you need more blue, get more blue. If you need more white, get more white.
Yeah, for those of you who see the little dots on the canvas, that's actually from the bubbles we had earlier.
Yeah.
She's painting those out as we
I'll get them out.
They'll disappear.
They're proof. Later, some poor person will have to look at it and go, this was there's this thing called YouTube. And these crazy people taught art for free. Free to the people around the world because they thought everybody should paint.
And I have to say, it's been one of the most fun things to do is to consistently come out here and hang out with people and teach them how to paint. And I have to say, like, we have this huge crowd of people here hanging out with us today, and we've got almost 400 people on YouTube, and we've got if you add Twitch to that, we've got just about 400 people here with us today.
Wow.
So. You figure, guys, thanks for coming and hanging out with us.
Of course, some of them are probably like, I watch on Twitch and YouTube. I watch all the streams because I will not be left out of a single solitary stream.
No kidding. And we appreciate that because I have to say, it's a lot of fun. Probably it is.
Getting a little white on my brush.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead. I'm not going to talk about this. So you go.
No, you're okay. I'm just adding a little gray to the fur because I feel like I need to see a little gray to the fur. And can you see how I'm just following the stroke of the neck?
Yes.
I'm just like, I know like the shape of his neck. He's got a muscle under here. Bring that longer fur around here. I'm just trying to say little dude has fur. If he wasn't going to eat your face, he would be very, very cute. But he is going to eat your face. Don't get it twisted.
Wolves, not pets.
Wolves, not pets. I'm going to get a smaller brush. I'm going to get a number 6, I think.
Ooh.
I just need a little more control and a little more tightness, and I think I'll also pull a number 4. I like to adjust my brush stroke for the size of the area that I'm working, and it's very helpful to me. I'm going to take a little of my Cad Red over here to my burnt umber. You can see I'm just loading it up. Again, not really.
Chris says, don't eat my face, Wolf.
Don't eat your face. Be sweet. Well, they're just doing wolfy things. So you might be like, oh my gosh, is that blood in his mouth? That's where my son goes. But what that is, there's a couple reasons to use red in his mouth, believe it or not. One of them is that there is, of course, a red tone inside his mouth. The other one, interestingly, though, is to imply a heat or energy artistically about what's happening up there.
Oh.
It's a way to talk about those things. I'm going to add a little blue to my brush. I haven't rinsed it though, have I?
Now, you were talking about that earlier. You're doing a lot of dry brushing because you didn't
Yeah.
want that bristle brush to get soft, right?
Right. I'm doing dry brushing. I don't really want my bristle brushes to get soft. I want them to be real scratchy. You use whatever firm filament you have.
Okay.
That's all you're doing. You're just like, all right, I'm going to put a little shadow under my tooth and under this lip here.
Yeah.
Pulling back. But I'm leaving this red glow. Can you see how I am?
Yes.
And
Now,
I'm going to get a little more blue.
can you talk about, you just flipped your brush around a whole lot there when you were doing that. I'm going to zoom in on it.
Okay.
Because you were rotating your brush and flipping it and doing all sorts of stuff there.
This is something I think we all do as painters is like I have brush loaded this side. I have brush at the paint at the corners here.
Yeah.
I have paint that loads at the tips. And so as I rotate my brush, I've got these different little spaces, these different little lines. So as see, I can flip now and catch that other corner. That way I'm not having to reload my paint as much.
So you're using the different loads to get different effects.
Yep. I
Okay.
am. I'm going to go get some black paint. I haven't rinsed out even. I'm going to go get some of this black. I'm going to come right here and I'm going to even define this little eye space just a little more.
Yeah.
And I might even come inside his ear just a little bit just to be like, hey, 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 this is happening. And you can come underneath here just a little and add a little scratch of a shadow right there. It's helpful. You can do it.
Okay.
I'm going to just sort of wipe off my brush but not really rinse it. I'm going to come over and get some burnt sienna out. I'm going to pull a little smidge of the phthalo blue. It's going to gray it, but you can see it's still a warmer color than right here. And I'm going to come and work the muzzle.
I think that Chrissy is painting with her mom Lisa today.
Hi, Chrissy and Lisa.
Hopefully they're having a good time with us, and Chrissy's been hanging out with us for a while now. She's been one of our community members, so it's nice. We always like when we see parents and kids painting together.
Yeah.
No matter how little or big the brushes are.
So we want to do really short little strokes right here on the muzzle. Really short little strokes right there on the muzzle. Do them short. Little bit at the eye here, very short. And you can definitely always pull some of the darker fur over the lighter fur. Right? I'm going to come pull a little more burnt sienna into my brush.
Sue's got some hunter cats.
You have some hunter cats.
Yeah, they managed to
Little short strokes here. And then right down the middle of the forehead, I'm adding some of this color. So see, I'm putting some of these variables into his little world, right?
Ooh, that's pretty cool.
All right, little short strokes here, saying fur, 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 fur. It helps. Go do it with me. Fur, 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 fur. John listens to me buzz over in my little studio.
She's just all the time over there, just do singing along.
Fur, 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 fur.
And we put music up in here.
Yeah.
Some of you guys have heard on our other,
Cast of doom that they pulled down
our
because John's
pirate
music skills are too cool, man.
I don't know, they're kind of pirate radio broadcasts. So,
Things are happening.
it's
What can
just-
we do?
yeah.
What can we do? All right, I'm going to put some of this brown right here in him because I feel it now. I'm feeling it. Are you guys feeling it? But see how I'm always paying attention to the stroke, the direction of his fur. Again, this isn't like crazy hard. This is just about paying attention and being present to the direction of his fur.
Now, all the little brushes with us have got a howl on this, right? When we get the howl in there,
Uh-huh.
they're going to have to practice their howls so they can go,
Yes,
"Ow!"
yes. All
when
your
they get their
children at
howls
home
in
need to
there.
howl. I
Right?
am rinsing out my brush really, really well.
All right.
I'm going to do one thing real quick. I've got my burnt umber and my phthalo blue. And believe it or not, these make a great gray together.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Not quite. It's a little warmer. And I'm going to make sure that I come up to the top of my nose here.
Let me get in there.
Okay. So I've got a very dry brush, as I've been doing the whole time. And really, what a dry brush, how that technique works is that you're just very light and precious on the canvas. And you make soft strokes, and you allow a lot of it just to happen.
That's cool.
Is that, yeah. And I'm going to come up the top of the eye. Come up the top of the eye. And I'm also going to allow it to happen right there, too. See? I'm going to... See how I'm putting that little fur there? There we go. You can see it even more, can't you? It's awesome. Awesome. I'm going to take this off-white color while I have it.
Mm-hmm. Again, you're not getting any water on these.
No, I'm not. And I'm hoping if you need to go smaller brush for the teeth, go smaller brush for the teeth. You know, if you're going to lose your point, on these, you definitely want to keep their shape, otherwise they won't feel like teeth.
Can you show me a smaller brush you might use?
Yeah, I have this fabulous brush. This is a number 1 bright.
So that's a number 1 bright. And
yeah, and I can come just also get a little bit of dry paint, right? And then I can come right here using this brush to make sure that I've got some nice shapes. And if I've lost my shape of my tooth anywhere, I can load up with black and fix it. See, look at me fixing it.
Oh, yeah.
I'll come right into the lip with my little brush. You use any little brush you want. Look at that.
Oh, you're just adding some contrast there now.
Yeah, now I'm just letting it show, because if my scrumbly little brush didn't give it to me, I can come back and demand it with my little brush.
Oh, nice. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right. That's great. That answers a lot of questions there.
Ah, shit. It's a very good thing. All right, we're going to do some fun stuff. We're going to make sure that this brush is pretty dry, though. This is where you absolutely could substitute for yellow ochre, which is this. But this is Australian sienna, and you could also substitute for Cad Yellow Deep or Indian Yellow.
Now, what is the green ones? What the blue ones are Bristles. What are the green ones called?
The green ones are called Cambridge.
Cambridge. So if you go at the brush guys and check them out, you can find the Cambridge brushes there, or the Bristles brushes there. And
so
use a 5% discount coupon, TheArtSherpa, and you
can get these. And what I'll tell you about these is they're called Best Dressed.
Yeah.
Correct?
Yeah, they're a bristle brush.
These are, all right, they're not overcooked, so they don't crack on you. They're interlocked, which means they're going to hold their shape. And so all the stuff that you guys write me that you hate about bristle brushes, they don't do. The only thing that they do, which all bristle brushes do, is get a little softer when they're wet.
Okay.
But they're a really good brush for acrylic paint, and I always have some in my kit. So I'm taking a little of my white over to my Indian yellow.
And how many hoots is this?
This is a hoot.
A hoot.
This is just a hoot.
This is easy. This is super easy.
I'm going to come along the top of his little nose and make a little highlight right there. See that?
Oh, I did. Just barely, though, because you were so fast.
Yeah. And I'm going to just on the corner of my brush. So I'm just doing the corner of this brush. I'm going to brush a little highlight on his fur. Just a little dry highlight. If this is too wet, I've got to go back, dry it off, and reload it. That's the trick, though. Moisture on your brush is the enemy of this technique.
Gotcha.
But once you get your brush dry enough, you're in like in.
Now, what's the difference between yellow oxide and yellow ochre?
One of them is from a natural source. One of them is a chemical mix. One of them is very opaque, and one of them is slightly transparent. But for the purposes of almost everything that you see on YouTube when you guys are trying to do it, unless it's talking about a particular opacity, in other words, how much it covers, they're the same color-wise, color profile-wise.
Dang, that was awesome.
What?
I like that whole thing that you just said was just sort of like, cool, because I understood it, and like I didn't know all of that stuff. It's just sort of like when you're looking, some.
Well, dude, it gets me too. Remember that one time I did that paint review and I had the transparent one instead of the opaque one, and it messed my review up, and I got to talk to all the people down there and be like, I'm sorry. You're right. That's not a comparable paint. But, for the purposes of what you'd run into Michael's, it is. So what I'm talking about here in this highlight that you're seeing is the light that he's being surrounded by.
Oh.
He is being, lit around him. And so it's very important to make sure that you're showing that. Now I'm going to come around his muzzle with some of this. Right here at the tip of his muzzle with this yellow and white. Look at that.
This glow.
The glow of the howl has illuminated him. I also like to put a little glow right under his eye. Is that a little Studio Ghibli of me? Mm-hmm. It might be. Can't help it though. Alright, pulling that around. See how I'm just kissing that? And then it pops him, doesn't it? I'm going to come with a little bit of this around his little ears.
Is this just a reflection of the psychic energy from his epic howl?
It's just how he was lit. But it is. It's his epic howl. He's feeling it.
Mm-hmm.
He's feeling his call to the wild, right? I'm going to put a little more in my brush. And I'm going to just, see, this is just a little bit darker. Just make sure I'm defining those ears a little bit. When I see his little ear. If you need to grab some more white, to pull the inside, do that. Don't even be afraid of it. Just be like, all right, let's define this. Let's really think this out here, little dude.
And just so you know, we broke 400 on YouTube, so I'm gonna have to come out and give you guys a little dance here in a little bit. And
you are, man.
When we go to end the show, I'll come out and see you.
Okay,
for sure.
John's got to come out and see you because.
But we're gonna let you finish this in here.
I'm sorry. I'm just loving what I'm doing today.
You're in there.
I'm gonna add a little white to there. I'll come back and highlight the teeth, and I'm gonna come along with this yellow and this number 4. You use the bright you have. Don't ever feel like you've got to have exactly my materials. That's silly. We're just working together. We're just hanging, and it's all good. I'm gonna just come along here with this, adding a little bit to his fur, aren't we?
Yeah.
Get some more white into it. Get the white involved.
Yeah.
Right? And you can see why if you're very familiar with all these colors. You could, if you didn't have the Indian yellow or the Australian sienna, get away with using yellow ochre. But if you have them, this is such a great place to use them. They have such a glow. It's like real cad. It just has a glow. It just isn't like other pigments. I swear I'm not messing with you when we paint stuff. Just going to keep defining his little fur, the way it's lit. See how I just flick it out and I create these little patches of fur by following my fur line.
Oh, yeah.
Again, if you're having trouble with fur, go do the fur quest. It'll cover it. It'll talk to you about it. I'm going to get my little brush.
Do your little brush. Which little brush?
I'm going to get my little brush that I used earlier. And I'm going to come back to my little teeth. I'm going to
hold on.
Come here and maybe make a little reflection on this tooth. This tooth. I think I'm going to come and give him a little reflection just at the front of his nose.
Ooh.
Just a little bit.
That's nice.
Yeah, just a little something. And you can even be like, hey, here's some long hairs. Don't feel like you can't do that. Look at that.
Yeah, that just adds some nice little.
You can just define those a little bit. He's not abstract, but he's painterly.
Yeah.
You can, if you want to get some red. I have like a little bit of blue in here. You can take some of this, red even.
Yep.
You just want to make sure it's super dry on your brush. You can see I'm just using my towel to death.
Yeah.
I have towels. My method is very hard on your kitchen towels because trust me, you'll be grabbing them. You can add some of this red anywhere you want. Right? These little touches is something I always do. They matter. You guys ready to do the howl?
I think so. I like the howl.
Howl is my favorite part. Being able to see the howl and see him just like pop that out. I'm looking here in this screen though, and while he's got a lot of value here for me, I'm not seeing it for you. So what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to take a little of my burnt sienna and a little of my phthalo blue because I want him to look right for you guys at home. And sometimes our camera can't see all the value. So I've come in with that sort of, can you see that light gray mixture there?
Yeah.
Make it a little more red than that. And make sure that you come into his front muzzle adding that because you really, really want to see this fur. See it now?
Oh, yeah.
All right, so just make sure that you're seeing it.
Oh, yeah, that looks really, that little gray, you just picked the black you picked up inside there. Just doot, doot, doot.
Yeah, you're just trying to see it. So that if you're having trouble, if you want to go back and red it up, you can always come back.
Well, you put brown
with a pop of burnt sienna.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so just realize you can keep working the fur. If you're not getting enough contrast.
Well, you said red, but you got that brown. And
I did?
Yeah.
Well, I had the red here.
Well, you said to add red, but then you got the brown color. So the brown added red to it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. So is that a reddish brown then?
Yeah, burnt sienna is a reddish brown. Thanks for catching that.
Okay,
I
cool.
actually appreciate that when you do that.
Well, no,
sometimes I get so like I'm in my artist brain, which is a little bit like baby brain.
Well, that's okay. And I just, I got to understand some things. I'm not sure,
No, I like it when you ask those questions because I think that's questions that people have.
Yeah.
So I'm just taking my black and blue again, making it more blue than black, right? But I want to tone it with the black. And now I'm going to make sure I've wiped it because I've got my brush wet. So bristles really pull in water, so you've got to really wipe them off if you don't want that.
Keep them really good and dry.
Yeah. And I'm going to load up a dry brush and see how that's loaded up.
Oh,
and using my guides and a bit of a calligraphy mindset. For those of you that have done calligraphy, this will make sense. I'm using the edge of the brush, but as it comes around the curve, it'll thicken up.
That's awesome.
See? So that gives me the beginning. And I'm just looking for a beginning.
I'm going to give a big art hug to Mark and his mom, who needed some art hugs out there.
Art hugs, yes.
Yeah, they were out of power there or heat for a while. I guess there was some damage up there, and for all the folks out there that are
on the East Coast,
yeah, having some heat and there's a lot.
Wherever you are,
yeah, just all you guys, big art hugs and loves for you, and hope that you get the warm and cozy like this Wolf, who's got his nice big coat on.
Yeah, he's cozy, even though it's a very cold day. Now that I've got my basis in, I'm gonna just load my brush up with white, and I'm gonna start shading, believe it or not, this stuff, creating some depth to it. I'll make sure that some of these lines feel more thick and defined. We really want to take them around.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm just adding these highlights. Here we go. We're just trying to talk about this.
Yeah.
So anyone that you have that you like, that's why I like to pre-sketch it in. It's hard to think about how do you draw breath you can see, because it's not really there, and your brain buckles at that concept instead of just observing what it is seeing and trying to talk about it. And what's it really seeing? It's seeing the reflection of light across the moisture.
Yeah, and all the little brushes out there, Harper and all the guys watching.
Hi, Harper.
You got to howl when you paint your
or if you're a little brush at heart and you had a howl, I don't want to limit somebody's right to howl.
And I know Raven's going to be painting this with us, so I can't wait to see Raven's.
Yeah, it's a sacred thing, a howl.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to really pull this one out. See how I'm pulling that one out?
I like that so much.
Just pull it in. You can come back with blue to deepen some of it. Just realize that you're painting this like you paint anything else. Yeah, it's a breath or a glass or a drop of water, but you're painting it like you're painting anything else. I'm going to get some just blue. Maybe I'll come and add that there. And add this here. Isn't that fun? I'm adding these little dark lights. And then all of a sudden you can really see the motion of it all, can't you? And it's real, and he's singing, and you can see the song. This is like when they can see music in the fifth dimension. That's a real thing. I'm not being a fruitcake. That's something like some scientists reported.
What?
I'm not like in the fifth dimension. There's music. That's a thing.
Yes.
Not just on Doctor Who.
Multi-dimensional Sherpa.
Only classical music is what I've heard, but who knows? All right, so when we have the howl in, guess what we're ready to do?
Sign it?
Yeah, look for anything you want to define. One little thing that I did do on him, I want to make sure I do with you, is that I came here and just made a little line along his eye. Even though his eye is closed, I wanted to make sure I highlight it. It's a little touch. I'm going to do something weird with my signature like I always do.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I like to be interesting with my signature. So it feels like it's part of the painting. But you do yours like you want to, and I think John owes you a dance.
I think I'm going to come out and I'm going to say thank you to everybody is what I'm going to do.
I think you need to, because they painted. You guys painted. We did it together on our Saturday with bubbles that I'm going to now have to gesso back out of the wolf.
Thank you guys for coming. We love you. Love you guys so much. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Bye-bye. You're amazing. Be amazing. Keep arting. Come by TheArtSherpa.com. Chat. Keep that chat going. Angela's on late tonight, so make sure you check her out. She's painting too. You could be arting all day.
You could be. And okay, so I think that's pretty much for our show for today, guys. We love you. We will catch up with you very soon. I'm trying to see if there's any buttons that I need to push. I don't think so. Other than kids being crazy, we love you guys. We will see you soon.
Soon. Bye-bye.